The moon above the mountains had turned blood red. Kael Ashford stood inside the ancient sanctuary, staring at the glowing crystal between himself and Lior. The silver light had disappeared, but something had changed. They could both feel it. A strange warmth connected them, as if an invisible thread had been tied between their hearts. Lior slowly looked at Kael. "What happened to us?" Kael didn't answer. He didn't know. Before either of them could say another word, boom! The entire sanctuary shook. Dust fell from the ancient ceiling. Lior grabbed the stone wall. What was that? Kael drew his sword. Someone is attacking. Another explosion shook the mountain. Then came the sound of wolves. Hundreds of them. Kael's expression changed. The Crimson Fang. Outside the sanctuary, black-cloaked warriors surrounded the mountain. At their center stood Magnus. His silver hair moved in the cold wind, while his crimson eyes remained fixed on the ancient sanctuary. Beside him stood dozens of warriors carrying the Crimson Fang symbol. Magnus smiled. Tonight, the old prophecy ends. One of his soldiers bowed. The Ashford and Silver Moon forces are approaching. Good. Magnus looked toward the sanctuary. Let them come. Inside, Lior looked at Kael. We have to warn the others. Kael nodded. Stay beside me. This time Lior didn't argue. They rushed through the ancient passageways. But when they reached the entrance, the sight outside stopped them. The mountain valley was filled with fire. The Crimson Fang had attacked both packs simultaneously. Ashford warriors fought desperately against the invaders. Silver Moon warriors stood beside them. For the first time in generations, the two rival packs were fighting together. Kael looked at Lior. Our families spent generations fighting each other. And now, Lior finished quietly. We're fighting the same enemy. Kael charged down the mountain. Lior, stay with the healers. Lior shook his head. No. Kael stopped. Lior. I'm not hiding while everyone else fights. Kael stared at him. Then a small smile appeared. I knew you'd say that. Together they entered the battle. The fight was brutal. Swords clashed beneath the red moon. Wolves raced through the snow. The air was filled with shouting. Lior stayed near the injured, helping wounded warriors while Kael fought on the front line. Then a Crimson Fang warrior broke through the defense. He raised his sword toward Lior. Kael saw him. Lior! Kael ran. But the warrior was faster. Just before the blade reached Lior, a silver shield exploded between them. Boom! The attacker was thrown backward. Everyone froze. Lior stared at his hands. A faint silver glow surrounded them. Kael looked at him in disbelief. You did that. I didn't know I could. The glow disappeared. Kael reached for his hand. You protected yourself. Lior looked into his eyes. Maybe the bond is protecting us. A slow clap echoed through the battlefield. Magnus stepped forward. Beautiful. Everyone turned. Magnus walked through the smoke. You finally awakened the moon bond. Kael raised his sword. Magnus. The villain smiled. So you know my name. I know what your people did to our families. Magnus laughed. Do you? He looked around. Your families blamed each other for generations. They destroyed their own bloodlines because they believed my lies. Lior's face hardened. You killed them. Magnus' smile disappeared. I gave them something better. Hatred. Hatred makes people predictable. Kael stepped forward. Why do you want the moon bond? Magnus' eyes moved toward Lior. Because it belongs to the first bloodline. Lior frowned. What does that mean? Magnus pointed toward the ancient sanctuary. Your families were never the true rulers of these lands. The Moon Guardians were. And your bond is the key to awakening their power. Kael tightened his grip on his sword. You're not getting it. Magnus smiled. We'll see. Magnus raised his hand. The Crimson Fang warriors suddenly transformed. Their eyes turned crimson. Their strength doubled. Kael barely blocked the first attack. The impact sent him sliding across the snow. Kael! Lior rushed toward him. A warrior attacked from behind. Lior turned. The silver light returned. Crack! A powerful wave of energy threw the warrior into the trees. Lior stared at Kael. I can feel when you're in danger. Kael slowly stood. And I can feel when you are afraid. Their eyes met. For a moment the war disappeared. Kael stepped closer. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Lior's eyes softened. Because you're here? Kael nodded. Because we're together. Suddenly, an arrow flew through the darkness. Kael pushed Lior aside. The arrow struck Kael's shoulder. Kael! He fell to one knee. Lior caught him. Blood stained the snow. No! Lior's hands began glowing again. Magnus watched with satisfaction. Yes! Let the bond awaken completely. Lior looked at him. What? Magnus smiled. Every time he is hurt, your power grows. And every time you fear losing him, the bond becomes stronger. Lior's eyes widened. Magnus continued. But there's a price. Kael struggled to stand. Don't listen to him. Magnus raised his hand. If the moon bond becomes complete, one of you will have to sacrifice everything. Lior froze. What? Magnus smiled. Only one soul can carry the Moon Guardian's power. Kael stared at him. You're lying. Am I? Magnus turned away. You'll discover the truth soon enough. The battle continued. But now Kael and Lior fought differently. They moved together. When Kael attacked, Lior protected him. When Lior was surrounded, Kael appeared beside him. They didn't need words anymore. Their bond seemed to guide them. Together, they pushed the Crimson Fang forces backward. Magnus watched from the mountain. His expression finally changed. They were becoming stronger. Far stronger than he expected. Retreat. His warriors began disappearing into the forest. Kael looked toward Magnus. You can't run forever. Magnus smiled. I'm not running. I'm preparing. He vanished into the darkness. Hours later, the battlefield was silent. The Crimson Fang had disappeared. The wounded were being carried back to the village. Ashford and Silver Moon warriors stood together. No one looked at the other with hatred anymore. For the first time, they looked like one pack. Lior sat beside Kael near the dying fire. Kael's shoulder had been bandaged. You should rest. So should you. I'm fine. You almost died. Kael looked at him. You were worried. Lior looked away. Anyone would be. Kael smiled. Not everyone. Silence. Lior finally looked at him. I was terrified. Of what? Losing you. Kael's expression softened. Lior. I know we're supposed to hate each other. Kael shook his head. We were taught to hate each other. Lior swallowed. What's the difference? Everything. Kael reached for his hand. Their fingers slowly intertwined. The silver light appeared again. This time, it didn't disappear. A glowing mark formed on both their hands. Lior stared at it. What does this mean? Kael whispered. I don't know. Then Elder Rowan came running toward them. His face was pale. Kael. Lior. We have a problem. They stood immediately. What happened? Rowan held the ancient journal in his hands. I found another page. He opened it. There was only one sentence. When the moon bond awakens, one heart must be sacrificed before the final moon. Lior's blood ran cold. Kael stared at the page. That's what Magnus was talking about. Rowan nodded. But there's more. He turned the page. A second message was written beneath it. The sacrifice does not belong to the bond. Lior frowned. Then who does it belong to? Rowan looked toward the mountains. I don't know. Suddenly, a horn sounded in the distance. Everyone turned. A messenger came running through the snow. The Crimson Fang has attacked the Ashford capital. Kael's expression changed. My family. Another messenger arrived. The Silver Moon village is surrounded. Lior looked at Kael. They're attacking both packs. Kael grabbed his sword. He's dividing us. Lior stood beside him. Then we don't let him. Kael looked at him. For the first time, we fight as one. The two walked toward the army. Behind them, the glowing mark on their hands pulsed beneath the moonlight. Far away, Magnus stood inside a dark fortress. In front of him was a massive stone altar. At its center was an ancient crystal identical to the one inside the moon sanctuary. Magnus placed his hand against it. Come to me, moon bond. His crimson eyes glowed. Because when the final moon rises, I will decide which one of them survives. Thunder exploded across the sky. The war had only just begun. To be continued. Episode 5, The Final Moon. The final battle is coming. The truth behind the moon bond will finally be revealed. But when Kael and Lior discover the terrible meaning of the ancient prophecy, will love be strong enough to defeat destiny? If you enjoyed episode 4, like this video, comment. Who do you think will make the ultimate sacrifice? Kael, share this episode with another BL lover. Subscribe to Loveverse BL and turn on notifications. Episode 5. The final moon is coming soon. Everything has been building toward this moment. The war. The moon bond. The betrayal. The prophecy. And the love between two people who were taught to hate each other. Episode 5 will reveal everything. Don't miss the final episode. The final moon is rising,